Hopefully you guys have been having a good couple of days. Sorry for the absence. I've had some personal issues that I needed to take care of. So I appreciate you guys sticking by, and hopefully you guys were managing risk and sticking to your trade plan while I was absent. But now we're back and we are ready to get started, and hopefully we can, knock today out of the park. Let me find one thing quick. All right, so we're gonna do a recap, just like we normally do. We're gonna do the trade view today, but we're gonna do the trade view live instead of on paper. Okay, so pull over Thinkorswim. We're gonna zoom out to the monthly, right? We want to start on the monthly every single chance that we get, which is every day before the session starts. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of these extended trading hours. Okay, so with the monthly, we can see the trend obviously is making lower lows, right? Every time it comes up to this trend, and this trend is since January, we've been just kind of bouncing off of it, and this time we put some tails up to the upside. And if you guys remember towards the beginning of the month, I had said that the previous month's low was going to be one of the key levels to hold. And I think it's about 39.56 half, right? And that's going to be, a key level. We're 3 weeks into the month, coming up to the last week of the month next week. And, we're pretty far down right now. So as we're coming into this kind of previous equilibrium, and then we have the previous excess of these two previous months, that's going to be the key to monitor if it's going to break out right now, right? So we can see that we're kind of in a bracket here, a monthly bracket, ranging from about 4,300 to, we say, like 4,600, 46 half, 4650. Okay, so pretty wide bracket. You can see the ATR, average trading range, on the monthly is 397 points. So pretty decent, pretty decent range. If we look at this month's range, we've got a high of 41.37 and a low of 47.63. So let's go ahead and do some math real quick. What would we say? 41.37 minus 37.63 is about 374. So we're pretty close to hitting that ATR, right? So what we can gather from the monthly is that the monthly is in a bracket, right? I wouldn't say it's one time framing. It is making lower lows. We are definitely in a downtrend. The long-term trend is definitely down. But right now, as of right now, we're still in this bracket, and they still have excess below that's holding. Okay, switch over to the weekly. And the weekly gives us a little bit of an interesting look here as we're approaching the excess of this initial up move. So here's the all-time high. We pushed down, created some excess, bounced right above, balanced, and then that's where the market made that move back to trend. Got rejected at trend, moved down, balanced, got a little bit too short, rallied, and then came back down and is now coming back down. So the key levels here are going to be to watch kind of these previous lows. If we switch to the Z contract, it's a little bit harder to see. I've just been kind of looking at that, right, because it doesn't really go back as far, but we can kind of see where these previous lows are at, right? We've got a low here at 37.59 half, a low here 37.4175, and a low here 37.55, right? As we know, during Globex, as of right now, we're below that, trading around 37.26 right now. We look at this low back here, this low is 37.14 quarter, and then we have our excess all the way down to that 36.53 on this contract. Double R, good morning. Patrick, good morning. Uncle Stacy, good morning. Tommy, good morning. Roach, good morning. Yeah, I got hacks, bro. Actually, James is in the same trade. We actually talked about it last night. Dr. VJ, good morning. And so right here, we're kind of seeing the market re-enter this balance, and so the target pretty much is that 37.14. We had talked about earlier in the week that the target was going to be that 37.60, and we had talked about that before the FOMC meeting. And that 37.60 seemed like the level to go. Well, we've actually traded a lot lower than that, and so the next target down would be that 37.14 quarter. Morning, Jamie. So we'll switch over to the daily now. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, she's doing well. Thank you. And you can see the market was kind of in this ugly balance, broke below the balance, and is now heading lower. And we have this kind of weak low look here on this low. So, it is interesting to at least assume like maybe that could be the target. We're below this level here now. You've got this holiday day that we don't really count, and it's trading right at that low. That's that 37.14. And then we have this monthly low here at 36.57. And so it is interesting to at least see if buyers are going to show up in this range, and that's going to be kind of the key going into today that we're going to have to monitor for. Um, there is a little bit of conviction here on this move down. If we look at the volume, right, we can see as the market has been moving down, the volume has been moving up. So there has been some volume moving up. Okay, that's the daily look. And so now we're gonna take a look at yesterday's action before we get into what's happening right now. And I want to point something out that's key, and something that I talked to my dad about um, yesterday, and something that I'm sure some of you probably got caught up in yesterday. And we can see here's the previous low, so I'll just go ahead and mark it so we can reference it even if we zoom away from it. But the uh the the look yesterday was a B shape, right? Ended with a B shape with a little bit of a buying tail at the low. Um, what I want to point out is that yesterday the trend was down, right? Until L period, really, we started relieving all these mechanical highs. We left a mechanical high right off the bat. Okay, B high was right at that open. Market started selling. Okay, we got a buying tail in D. We traded up, so there was opportunity there. But the real opportunity here yesterday was to sell rallies, right? So the gap filled, right, initially. Um, but then as soon as the gap filled, we started trading below the gap again, right? So the market opened, it filled the gap, and then started trading down. B period open, rallied up to the open, got sold off again, sold down. C period opened, tried to rally, got sold off again. D period opened, tried to rally, sold off again. E period opened, tried to sell off, a little bit of a rally. Okay. F period comes up, corrects some of these shorts that are a little bit too short. G period trades inside F period, right? And there's your sign, right? If you're being patient. So we get the buying tail, market's a little bit too short. Market trades up. G period's inside F period. So an inside bar, the market starts to rebalance. And then what does H do? Takes the low, right? Market got a little bit too short again. I period traded. The range started to get a little bit too much, but we started leaving mechanical highs again, letting you know that even though these are weak levels, buyers are not strong enough to take these levels, right? So weak buyers in the market. J period sells down, K period sells down, L period gets that rally as everyone starts to close out their position at the end of the day. M period shoots up, and then 2 seconds before the market closes, just puked, right? And so what I'm trying to explain is if we take this and we look at this on a 30-minute chart here, and we're looking at yesterday's cash session, right? For the most part, it is balanced. Here's a there's a period. This is a period here. Um, for the most part, right, a pretty bracketed look, right? But how many people got caught up in here, right? Getting long when the opportunity for pretty much the whole day was to until D period put in that buying tail was to get short, and then the only time to buy again was, maybe here and here. Those were the only other two opportunities to buy. So if you're looking at your trading chart yesterday and you only got long, and it wasn't in late in D period or early in E period, right? F period, you had already missed it. G period was balanced, traded lower. Maybe you got a little piece if you were to snag that low. And then here, you had one, two, three, four opportunities to get long yesterday, right? Because of the trend, right? Look at the trend, right? So lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, right? Yeah, this makes a higher high of the current bar. But here's the previous high. And it doesn't get broken until here, right? And I've said this a million times. If we can just stay with the trend, we can be a lot more successful than if we try to fight the trend, right? Then we flip over to our flex grid and look at the tick, right? The tick doesn't tell you to buy at all. This is on the 30-minute, but I mean, you know, you only had two ticks that were able to close above zero. There's no buying strength in the market yesterday. Look at the look at the breadth. The breadth was negative as fuck yesterday. Everything was negative except Microsoft for the most part, right? And then look at the Vold here. Let's switch this to 5 minutes. Um, the this is the breadth. Look at it. I mean, all the volume is to the downside yesterday, all day, right? Weighted AD, and I know some of you might not have this indicator, but even the heavy sectors were selling off. Like I said, maybe Microsoft was the only one that was having a little bit of positivity. You can see the market's trying to rally a little bit here. Yeah, yeah, and Rochan, you're not the only one, right? And even I struggle with it too because I'm optimistic a lot, and I'm almost always looking for a long, right? Not, I mean, and this is why I have created a certain things to kind of keep me on task, right? And so, one thing that's easy is just look at the open, right? Are we above or below the open, right? If we're above the open, give yourself a +1. If we're below the open, give yourself a -1. Is price above the point of control or below the point of control, right? Is the point of control above the open or below the open, right? +1, -1. Afraid to get short because you moved. Yeah, exactly. So you move, so you look for the long, but why not just wait for the short, right? Because we're afraid to miss out on the long. That's why, right? We're just afraid to miss out on the long. And I mean, it's natural, right? And then you look around it and look at your tick. Your ticks are all negative, right? So there's another -1. Then you look at the volt or the breadth, and there's another -1, and then another -1, right? And then if you have the weighted AD, you look at it, it's negative all day. There's another one. We're below the previous day's low. Value is lower. It's not even overlapping. There's another -1, right? The profile does look like liquidation, which is why I say, there was opportunities to get long, but they were few and far between. For the most part, you sell this E rally, look where F opened, cash, right? Sell the F rally, look where G opened, cash. Sell the G rally, look where H opened, cash. Sell the I, look where I opened, cash. Look where J opened, look where K opened, right? And it wasn't until L period that this thing really started trying to go above the open, right? But when it did, no volume followed it. And so these are just certain things, I'm not trying to harp on anyone or make anyone feel bad. I'm just trying to point out to me what was obvious. But, also I've been doing this a long time. And if there are certain things that can help you, you know, stay on trend, whether it be a moving average or whether it be a checklist like I use, you know, whatever it is, just figure it out. And there will be a checklist in the course that's coming. And I know I feel it probably sound like a fucking broken record. It's just like, you know, I I just want it to be the way I want it to be, and it's just gonna have to be that way. But um, have strategies in place to where, you know, you have that opportunity, right? Like, who, like, there's, I'm sure there was, well, not I'm sure, but I guarantee it, that people were getting long on this B low, people were getting long on this C low, and they got stopped out on D, right? And all the people that missed, that missed their opportunity to get short here because they were afraid of the rally, the same people that were getting long because they thought the market was already too low, these people get stopped out, and what are they doing? They're selling, right? So they're selling, and then all these people that are afraid that they missed the downside pile into the shorts. No volume follows, right? We see short covering here. No real volume follows, and then the market rallied from there, right? Had a little buying tail and then rallied. Right? But whatever it is that you have to use in order to keep yourself in track or on track, you've got to have something. Do you believe that being an optimist is the basis of your peace of mind and successful family life? Yeah, I do, right? I think I think it has good aspects and bad aspects. Luckily for me that I am an optimist, but I have enough street smarts to see reality. So, a lot of times people that are optimists, that are um what would the word be, naive, get taken advantage of, right? Um, like, and I could use my son as an example. Not that he's been taken advantage of, but if he were an adult, because he hasn't seen that most people suck, which is something I tell them all the time. Actually, I say most people are shit, but that you can be taken advantage of that way, and that's what the market counts on, right? So, and typically the retail crowd, for the most part, are contrarian. So if the market's down, they're just assuming, oh, it's got to come up sometime. And if the market's up, they're like, oh, it's got to go down sometime, right? And you miss these huge moves like 2020 low, right? Everyone was short, 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 short forever, and the market rallied like, fucking 3,000 points or something. Right, the low from COVID was like 2,400 or something like that, and it went up to 4,800. It's just crazy. Um, we got about 10 minutes. So let's look at overnight inventory, right? Looks like tonight we're going to be, or this morning we're going to be opening up on a fairly large gap. Gaps of 20 points or more in the ES typically can cause some issues, and a lot of times if you're a newer trader should just be avoided, right? Let the market settle itself out, let it figure out what it wants to do. What's going to happen early on is we're going to open up with a negative tick. We're going to open up with a negative breath, right? Not to say that those are going to hold, but that's what's going to happen, right? Um, and that's because of the gap, right? Gap rules. We go with any gap that doesn't fill early. So we've got a long ways to go. If this gap doesn't fill, we'll be looking for some opportunities to get short, right? We've got a fairly wide point of control, right? Inventory is 100% net short. And now that I'm uh, thinking about it, I need to mark this settle and stuff. I haven't been on the market. Well, I haven't had a chance to update my charts at all. So let me settle yesterday. Settle was 72. Last was 73. We can go to that. Yeah, so for the most part, inventory is net short, right? Most of the volume is either right at the settle, which is probably all the volume coming in the close, and then the liquidation from overnight. So we can assume that yesterday mostly was due to liquidation, right? And then momentum traders got too long after getting stopped out on the lows. They decided to get long on the breakout, and then they got, shit on into the close. And so more liquidation starting the day. Uh, Yesterday we did see some hope in the market, I would say. We saw a couple of names actually doing okay. Um, nothing really lasted, but still 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 a little piece of action. Okay, so what we're expecting is, or what we're going to be waiting for today, is let the market come to you, right? Let the market show us that it wants to give a tick above zero before we start fading this rally, right? It might happen fast and we might miss it. If I had a nickel for every trade I missed, I'd be fucking just rich, right? Let's take a little peek around the block real quick. Yeah, to see the breath. You don't see what the market was trading down yesterday? Well, yeah, I mean, like, you so the Vold um right here is just on Thinkorswim, right? It's free. This is a free platform. If you're in a different country and you don't have access to Thinkorswim, Tommy, one of our members, has actually created a very similar layout to this on TradingView. And so you can look at it on TradingView as well, which is a free platform as well. Um, but I mean, like, these are not, you don't necessarily need these, right? These are extra things that I use because they keep me on track, right? Um, but I mean, a simple way to look at this, right? If we look at the ES, got 5 minutes. If we look at the ES yesterday, right, and we'll show the extended hours here. We're looking on a 30-minute chart. I mean, okay. Yeah, definitely. Oh, you're good. Um, so Apple is actually, trading really close to that previous day's low. So it looks like it may be opening up on a gap, just a smaller gap. Amazon, or AMD, excuse me, is definitely going to be opening up lower on a gap. Amazon is looking like it's going to be opening up lower on a gap. Google, same idea. Um, uh, excuse me, I was looking at Disney. Google actually is trading inside yesterday's range. Google is one of those names that actually looked kind of strong yesterday. Same thing with Meta, right? Look at Meta. Meta actually looked kind of strong yesterday. This is why the market didn't sell off. People were buying the dip in some of these oversold names that they're assuming are a little bit oversold. Google, Meta, Microsoft being similar, right? Look at Microsoft. kind of trading up, and this is what kind of might have lured a lot of people into getting short, right? Early or all day yesterday, or getting long, excuse me, all day yesterday, is because they're like, oh well, tech's up, and if tech's up, then that must mean the market's going to go up, right? And it's just tech is just one sector. Yes, it's the biggest sector, but it doesn't always, it isn't always, especially when every other sector is getting crushed. It's not going to work like that. Netflix, right, looked kind of strong yesterday as well. Nvidia opening down on a gap, right? Nvidia and AMD kind of led the way down yesterday. There's a lot of news coming out about that. We're finally seeing TNX today roll back over, which could actually be decent for the market. Tesla, right? Everyone's like, "Ah, oh, Tesla's catching a bid," and this was early on in the market. I was actually listening to somebody announce it on the radio while I was driving yesterday, and some CNBC hero was calling the bottom in the market, and I was just like, "Oh God, he's a fucking idiot." And then the market sold off a little bit lower. This is like during A period right here, right in the beginning of B period. And then the VIX, we see the VIX kind of skied up yesterday, up above 29. So a lot of people got trapped in some of these puts early on yesterday, selling puts early on yesterday. Let's go ahead and play some Reveille so we can really get this ball rolling. All right. JB, good morning. What's your long-term game plan if all goes to shit? Well, I got a bunker and shit stashed up and got a lot of survival skills, so my plan will be basically to hunker down. I got a lot of property and survive. And here's the hardest part. We've got about 45 seconds before the market opens. The hardest part, right? Let's say you decide, you know, um, well, we'll just wait till the market opens and we'll jump back into it, guys. How's that sound? Pop, hey, hey, hey. Good morning. All right, here we go. Opening on a gap lower here. Trade below the open. Market trying to feel itself out. Look, this is what we expected, right? Look at the breath. Negative 53, right? Hugely negative breath. Negative tick, right? And a lot of people are out here just buying this thing. They're buying, right? That could work, but it's just so against what the market's trying to do, right? And when we think about that, something Jim Dalton would always say is, what's the market trying to do, and is it doing a good job at doing it, right? The Apple trading a lot lower here. A lot of volume coming in down here, right? Like I said, a lot of people trying to buy this spot here. Tick is starting to come up a little bit. The breath is ugly here. Tech is down, healthcare is down, financials are doing okay since the open. Everything opened on a gap down here. Communications just flipped. Financials are about to flip. Consumer discretionary is about to flip. So they give it up a little bit right there. And this is what I'm saying, right? A lot of people are trying to buy it, trying to buy it, trying to buy it, and the market's just not trying to be bought. You know what I mean? Like you're 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 fighting it too early, right? You know, yeah, the market may rally, but it now is not the time, right? The time is not yet. Just like yesterday during A period and B period and C period, right? Even D period, wasn't the best time to buy. Maybe late in D period, but you know, everyone's trying to get long, and that's not what the market's trying to do. And if we keep trying to fight the market and make the market do what we want to do, more often than not, it's just not gonna work out in our favor. So let's see, the market could be attracted to this point of control. Remember, look at 37.14 is right here, and that's basically right where we said that previous low was at, right? We switch this bad boy over. Daily to the Z. So here's that previous low. That's 37.10 is that low. 37.10 is this low here. So there's our first half pipe forming here. Right, a lot of volume in the bottom. Back up to initial volume. Got kind of a little half pipe forming up here. 3 contracts on the high, 157 on the low. It's below volume, continues lower. No call counts. Look at the breadth, -15. NASDAQ breadth, -2. Look at the tick. Not able to get above 0. But yet, for some reason, when this thing bounced, retail just pours in, just buy, 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 right? And then what happens? We've got to stop fixating on what we want to happen and focus on what is happening. Look at every sector here is red. Every single one. Right? So if you were to divide all these up, you've got 11 sectors and give yourself a plus minus count, you'd be -12 here. -13. -14. -15. Where's yesterday's point of control? It's way up here. -16. Are we above or below the open? -17. Is the point of control above or below the open? It's below. negative 18. Where's value at? Value's lower, negative 19, right? And so here we're, and then we're sitting there thinking, this looks like a good spot to get long, right? And we're fucking, negative 19, and we're like, oh, let's get long. It's like, what the fuck are we thinking? Instead, and this is the thing is like, oh, this is a good spot to get long because it could bounce and come back up to value. Why are we not looking for a spot to get short, right? Why not, like, okay, if it does rally, I'll get short from here and then manage some risk at the open. But instead we're like, oh, I'll just get long here. And then where's our stop? Below Globex low? Below, that 37.10 that we're going to right now? Right? You guys know what I mean? Like, and I'm not trying to, like, harp on anything, but when the market starts to trend, we've got to stay on trend, right? And if we look at the daily here, I mean, this is a 24-hour chart, um, but like, the market's trending down, right? The market actually broke that trend off the previous lows here, um, because there was a little trend here, right? That we could have mapped this out, maybe called it that, but it broke that, right? And even if we switch this to not look at the extended hours, it's the same look, right? We talked about this island reversal that everyone was had been talking about since fucking COVID when it happened, but it wasn't a legit island reversal. They just, how people just fucking love their shapes and colors and shit like that. I mean, this thing gapped up twice and then moved down below all of that gap. We know there's a seller here, right? Phallic seller apparently, because that's just what I draw. I sit around just drawing dicks all day. It's a sickness, super bad. But you know what I mean? But like, lower low, lower low, like, and now we're on another gap lower, and we're trying to trade towards that Globex low. This is one thing that we've got to understand. Yeah, the market's bracketing here. Okay, so these 4 days. Let me erase all these drawings. These 4 days here and this is FOMC day here. But we're bracketing, and even here, the market bracketed for 2 days, right? So there's opportunity to buy the lows and sell the highs, right? Of course. Um, and we're bracketing here. But when we break out of that bracket and get continuation like we did, why are we even thinking about buying, right? And it's because we want to be a hero. Just sell the market. Let it rally. Who cares? Miss a fucking long. Who cares? Right? Sell it. And believe me, I'm looking to get long just fucking all the time. I love a nice long. Um and I mean I on I think it was this day here, I actually caught a really nice long. We broke this low. We didn't get continuation, and there was a really nice long in there, right? And so I'm not saying that there's no opportunities to trade both sides, especially us mostly being intraday traders. There's opportunity to trade both sides here. I'm flat now. Um, at 20, my last one. Um, there's opportunities on both sides here, but if you're struggling or getting chopped up, right? Get your tool out, and I mean, if you like candlesticks, that's great. Um, I'm more of a bar kind of person. Um, fucking this the VWAP. Um, I'm more of a bar kind of person because this is what lets me see equilibriums. Um, You know, think about this. Like where do we want to like mark your chart up and be like, these are the areas that I'm going to get short from, and that's it, right? And we had even talked about this 3840 on stream, in the Discord, and I had said, because we came down to 3840 initially, FOMC bounced really high, and I had said, hey guys, write down 3840. If we get below 3840, this thing's gonna fucking puke, right? I had to go pick up the kids and all that shit, but I'm sure some of you guys caught it, and it was that easy. It was like, okay, well, we're breaking out of balance, we got volume, and then, you know. And so here yesterday, what do? We see this equilibrium up here, but we're just wanting to buy all day, right? Instead of just wait for our zone to short. We short it, short it, short it, you know? It's I mean it was I mean I don't want to say obvious, because obviously if it was as easily executed as we can just say out loud, then everyone would be able to do it naturally, right? Um, but if we're able to kind of figure out or get us something that's going to keep us on sides, or if we're getting chopped up in the trend because we're fighting the trend, well, we need to find something, that's telling us, okay, I'm fighting the trend. It really comes from journaling. At least for me, that's what helps me so much is my journaling. I mean, but here's another one. Look at the VWAP. I mean, the VWAP. If we weren't getting a lot lower volume, right? Because VWAP is the volume weighted average price, not necessarily the moving average, right? If we let's go ahead and let's add a moving average on here so we can keep talking about this market. It's Yeah, it's just going lower, guys. There's no reason to fight it. The breast 25 3 on the Nasdaq. The Volt is below zero. The weighted AD is low. The tick still hasn't got above zero. Just a lot of short covering down here though at the 37.15, 37.13, 37.14. Looks like a lot of people just covered some shorts down below Globex low. Um, what's a moving average everyone likes, right? The 50. Oops. Um, moving. What do you guys think is more widely followed? A 50 regular or exponential? Like a simple or an What's that?
Can you explain the difference between a simple and an exponential? I think I understand it. My understanding is that a simple is just the flat average price, but an exponential gives heavier weight to the newer information.
Right. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. So simple is like taking the past 50 bars, let's say. I mean, we could put them on it and we'll see the difference. We'll put them both on. A lot of volatility kicking in here. Oh, and that's because some news just got released. Fuck. My bad. Here we go. So we just had PMI come out. Manufacturing PMI came out higher. Global composite PMI and services PMI came out higher as well. So that's what the volatility is here. Um, looking at simple is going to be the bright blue and 50 and white exponential. Okay. Oh, and the VWAP's white. Fuck. Get red. Okay. So and I know this is it makes it seem like, oh well, fucking just I'll just sell when it gets under this and blah 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 blah, right? And I wish, you know, it'd be amazing if it was that simple. Um, but like when the market starts to trend, it is that simple, which is why people, you know, they're just like, ah, fucking moving averages are the key to success, right? But the market only trends about 20% of the time, right? And that's not very much, right? If we spend 100% of our time only trading 20% of the time, yeah, we might not trade as much. And if you trade high size and only trade trends, it's proven that you can be, you know, lucrative. But a lot of the times you'll just be sitting there and, you know, nothing, right? Moving averages are subjective, and both EMAs and MAs can't actually know which one's gonna work and win. Yeah, and that's the thing, is because for me, I think people don't know how to use them, right? People use them to trade off of, like as signals, because people are always looking for signals. Um, but I look at them as a reverse signal, right? And people are like, oh, well, I'm gonna, you know, if it breaks this, I'm gonna short it. If it goes above it, I'm gonna long it, right? But we're looking here. The white is the VWAP, right? When we're seeing the VWAP move down closer to price, so that lets us know that volume is coming down here, right? Volume is actually moving down faster. Nice short.
That was fast.
Yeah, great short, right? Shorted half back, nice mechanical short. There's nothing wrong with a mechanical short because you know that shorts are going to be there, right? Shorted it right down to the point of control. That was a fucking excellent trade. Um, but like, so we're here, right? And this is actually kind of why I got short yesterday at the 70. The market came down a little bit, right? And started to recover, but didn't come up above its previous high. I wasn't looking at the moving averages, but didn't come up above the previous high. But had I had on a 50, what do we say? Red is exponential, blue is regular or simple. Um, you know, it would have let me know, like, you know, and a lot of people got probably long here, right? But look at, I mean, not even look at the moving average itself, but look at where it's going. It's going down, right? VWAP going down. So volume's coming down with price. If we see price drop and VWAP is still flat, well, price is probably fucking coming back up. You know what I mean? That's how the VWAP works. That's why I use the VWAP, because it's based off of volume. It's weighted by volume and not by price. I mean, volume weighted average price, so it does have a little bit of price skew to it, but it intakes the volume, and we know that volume measures the success or failure of any moves, right? And so that's something that I look for. But we look at these moving averages here, and they're moving down, right? And people are like, oh, I'm getting long. But like, why? Look at this high, right? And let's say you take this much risk. Here's 37.60. Let me erase these here. So here's 37.55, let's say. Here, this previous lower high was just right above the 37.70. And then here's this right above the 37.80. So you're 10 points of risk here, right? Here's the previous low. We know that that target down, at least I had marked it as 14, but it was 10. You know, and here we are getting to 10 now. And my target was 14. And so the I'm risking 10 points, right? And everything is telling me that the market wants to make lower. A lot of people are like, oh shit, look at all the buyers in the market because that M period got them all fucked up, right? But nothing changed, right? There was no sustainment. Yeah, maybe it flattened out a little bit. The VWAP even flattened out a little bit, but nothing really changed. And the market just continued lower. And this is what I'm saying. If this is something that you need to put on your chart, a 50 moving average, right? You put a 21 moving average, it's like right here, right? It's all over the place. You know, give yourself a little bit of space and do yourself a fucking favor. Um, and you know, it's gonna make you be more patient, right? And that's what we need in this game is patience. We need to be patient. If we're not patient, we're just gonna get chopped up. And so if you need to toss a 50 moving average on your bar chart, then fucking toss it on there and just make it a rule. Be like, you know what? I'm not gonna long the market unless it's above the 50 moving average closed and the 50 moving average is sloping up, right? Because I mean, like right here, we're above the 50 moving average, but it's flat, right? So it's not up, right? Not sloping up like we would like to see. And in reality, these averages, like I said, they're only good for a trend, right? Because look at when the market trades sideways, just a complete fucking mess, right? And if you're using the moving averages as a signal like that, right? And this is Globex, but if you're using the moving averages as a signal like that, you're gonna get fucking chopped up. But if you're using them as a way to project slope, and you know, here's a key. Let me add some more time real quick. Back. Going back to that balance, right? So here's that balance day, right? And so if you're using these as a way to, you know, try to trade off of, like a lot of people say that they do. I mean, look at this. You're short, you know, you're short all this, and then you just get kind of ran through. Yeah, maybe if you hold a position, it comes back. Then you do the same thing. You're short down here because the trend, and then it goes against you. But you know, we know because we trade the profile that we're in a balance, right? Broke out of the balance at the end. I mean, but just not even really broke out, more just extended the balance higher. So yeah, maybe you got short here and you got fucking stopped out. Losing trades is gonna happen. It's just a fact of life, right? Um, yeah. So I mean, if that's something that you know that you think can help you stay on the right side of the trend, or at least make you more patient, then don't feel like just because you have a profile in your chart that you can't, oh, I can't use moving averages because I only trade the profile. You know, we're not fucking, we're not robots. You know what I mean? We're smart. We're humans. Whew. Sorry. I know I went off on a fucking tangent. Sorry, guys. My dad got me all fired up yesterday when I was fucking when he sent me his trades and they were all long. I'm like, the fuck are you doing? I mean, yeah, he had a good day, which is awesome, but like, could have been a lot easier. You know, and I'm all about the work smarter, not harder type of deal. And I'm not saying that there's not opportunity on both sides, right? I'm just saying when the market starts to trend, there is so much opportunity that can be easier. Oh shit. Fucking Xbots are back.
I'm not getting long or nothing, but I expect us to bounce off this 07. I'm not getting long though. Don't worry.
I'm no, and I'm not saying that you can't, right? You know, I'm
I
not.
know, I know, I know.
Yeah, there's opportunity, of course, in both sides, but you know, you've always got to manage the risk, and you've got to be expectant. So, like, if you're taking a long here, right? Let's say you want to get long off this 7, right? And it does look like some bids are stepping up here, and it looked like we had short covering down at the 7.
Yeah,
Um,
they already did it.
but like, if you wanted to get long here, these are one of these trades. Yeah, we want to go 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, million to 1, right? You know, the risk reward is great. It's a great strategy to have. But if you take a bunch of shitty ass trades that have great risk to reward and none of them ever win, well, guess what? The trading is going to be shit anyways, right? And so you've got to understand, okay, what am I doing longing the market down at the low? I'm fading the market, right? Because the market's not. What is my count, right? My count is negative 19, right? We'll just call it around 20 because everybody loves a nice round number. We'll add something to it. That 50 moving average sloping down. Boom, there's number 20. Um, and so I'm countering this negative 20, which is top of the chart, right? And everything is telling me don't get long, but I'm like, no, motherfucker, we're going up. And I've got to know if I get long the 7, or let's say get long the 11, right? I've got to know as soon as this thing gets in profit, I'm locking it in. Locking it in. And if I get one tick right here, well, good thing, because I got one tick on a negative 20 count. You know what I mean? Like, not like, you know what? I'm gonna get long right here. I'm gonna put my stop here. I'm gonna risk 4 points, and I'm gonna look here. This thing goes up, and then pukes on you, right? If you're gonna fade the market, fades are meant to be quick trades, and you've got to be in, you got to be out.
Yeah, you right. I ride the momentum up. As soon as it hesitates, boom, I flatten out.
Exactly. Yep. Thanks for the pep talk. Just pocketed a nice 25K profit on the BTC short and 25% of the investment left as a owner. Hell yeah, double R. Good shit, bro. Enjoying the fire. Felt like you're cheating on your TPO. You know, and that's the thing, is like everyone has their own style, and as much as, you know, as much as it would be nice to do that, you know, what's that Johnny Depp movie where like turns his brain into the computer, um, you know, like, and everyone just we all trade exactly the same, but you know, because the market is so psychology based, and because us as humans are so prone to psychology, or prone's not really the right word, susceptible to our own psychology, we all have to do different things, right? Like, think about, you know, like Roach and I were talking about the other day, when you get in a fight, um whether it's organized, or you know, you're fighting the kid at the fucking bike racks after school, you do certain things to psych yourself up. Transcendence, that's it, Caesar, thank you. Morning, Kevin. You know, you do certain things to psych yourself up, and you know, they're not always going to be the same. You know, like, I mean, you watch MMA or boxing and stuff, right? And people come in the ring, and some of them are fucking, you know, they're bouncing off the walls. They're in like a fucking psychotic, you know, ADD spin. You know, just they're crazy, right? And some people come in the ring and they fucking crawl in, and they're all creepy, and they're just like super chill, like a cucumber. You know, and they both knock people out. You know what I mean? Like, it's different for everybody. And so, you know, if you've got some other things that are gonna help you, you know, don't be afraid to one, use them, and then two, bring them to the community, right? Because like I said, like, you know, I'm not a fucking know it all. I definitely don't know everything there is to know about the market. It's impossible. And so if you found something that's helping you, right? Like my uncle's bot, right? A lot of times when my uncle's bot's just fucking spitting out put calls all day, I'm like, well, you know, maybe I won't fucking get long because this thing wants to go fucking down. You know, it's you know, it's something that we've got to develop it to help our own psychology, but we also not have to, but you know, it would be nice to share with the community if you've found something that helps you. So you use whatever bursts your bubbles all over, right? Exactly, all stars. Exactly. Do you watch tick or range? What do you mean, Martin? Like a tick or range chart? I like a range chart. I like a reversal bars too. I haven't been using them. To be honest, the only other chart that I've really been watching is a 5 minute chart. And actually, I have been doing some back testing on a 1 minute chart, because TJ's got me looking at this 1 minute chart. It might just be a little bit too crazy for me though, but definitely looks promising. Your voice of reason and clarity find your state of consciousness amazing for someone so young. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I read a lot, and I, you know, I have a unique, um, I've had a unique path, I think, so far in life. Hell yeah, Cam, good stuff. Now just go pray to the Fortnite gods that they bring back fucking No Builds Arena, so we can play some No Builds Arena. But yeah, that's fucking awesome. So 45 contracts on this low here, right? And look at the tick. The tick's trying to climb up here a little bit, but you know, nothing really is giving us the warm and fuzzy yet. Yeah, the dollar is just skying here. Yeah. And this is I don't know if you guys heard, but Japan did something that they haven't done since 19 you'd be honored to serve with me. Yeah, that'd be nice, man. I think I've had a unique impact on a lot of individual lives. Like I have a lot of like people that I could call up that would be like, yeah, come over, like sleep, yeah, at the house, like you know, like, and I don't know if everyone has stuff like that. You know, I know for like just comparing it to like my wife, like you know, it's not like that for her, you know, but that's probably because like I take like an individual interest in everything that I do really. Like I don't just do things just to do things. You know what I mean? Like if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it the best that I possibly can, or else I'm just not gonna fucking do it. Blast us all to smithereens verbally before they open. You learn the market profile and the process. Pair that with psychology. You can use. Yeah, I think so. I think you're right, TJ. Cold showers are legit, bro. Even my daughter takes cold showers every morning. That shit's no joke. Especially here, it's like fucking 40 degrees this morning.
It may just be that I'm a pussy, but I take warm showers. I'm just saying that.
I mean, like I get in the shower and I do like my normal shower, um, and everything, and then like after I'm done, that's when I turn the water. I like step back out of the water, turn the water to cold, and then just boom, step in there and count to 60, and step out, try to fucking catch my breath, and then step back in for 60. I just do it 3 times every day. Just makes your body supposed to be really good for you.
That's actually not a bad thing. I like that.
It's miserable when you first start, like
Oh,
fucking miserable.
hell yes.
Like it is the worst, but
Then you kind of
eventually,
look. I don't know. I look forward to it though sometimes.
yeah. I mean, like sometimes, like you know, if I got a good night's sleep, and then I take my cold shower, I don't even need coffee. I'm amped. I'm like fucking. I'm ready to go. Like I mean, it's it's intense.
I'm pretty amped all the time anyway, though. That's that ADD kicking in,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
is why I don't ever shut up.
I think the Havens are all like that. Like I think we all have, you know, probably a little bit of ADD. It's just like our parents, even like, you know, grandpa's medicine wasn't Ritalin, it was shut the fuck up, you know? Like
Yeah,
it wasn't
I'll give you a reason to cry.
yeah, exactly. Like it wasn't it wasn't like, oh, let me take this kid to the doctor. He's acting like a psycho. It's like I'll
Suck
whip
it up.
your ass with his
What's your
belt
problem?
if you want
Yeah,
to calm down.
it's been a while since I said this, but Grandpa's favorite phrase was, "When I say jump, you ask how high on the way up." I mean, I kid you not, that was literally the most common phrase out of his mouth.
And it's so funny now that he's old and is a softie. You
Well,
can't even think about like, back
there's
then.
that phrase of I think it was Bill Cosby. He said when he took his kids to see his father, and he was like, "This is not the man that raised me. This is an old man trying to get into heaven."
Wim Hof, yeah. Cold showers have mental and physical benefits, yeah. Lagarde? Oh, I'm not sure if she's on. I didn't see her on the on like the economic data plan. I didn't see her. Singing and dancing your way through. I can't even. That's savage. I can't even talk. I'm just like worthless when the cold water's on. So back at that 7 level, we're seeing some good volume come in down at this level. This is where a lot of shorts started to cover during A period, and you kind of got that little bit of a bounce. B period opened right above it, and we kind of saw a little bit of a rebound, but now we're coming back down below it. We're starting to see the tick come back down here, starting to see the, the breath continue a little bit short here. We'll try. Oh, but yeah, so what I was saying was Japan did something historic recently. They or it was like yesterday actually. They bought a bunch of their currency back. Um they did for the first time since 1988, I believe, or 1998, excuse me. Um they basically used like their GDP, like they used their reserves to buy the yen, right? So that means they're selling dollars to buy the yen. And last time they did this in 1998, they had the kind of approval um, of the rest of the world, right? They had everyone else in the world was on board. They were like, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Uh, you know, you should do that." Well, now they don't have that luxury. Excuse me. And everyone is kind of like, that's a bad idea. And so it's actually kind of surprising that the US dollar is doing so well, because with Japan trying to sell the US dollar down, you would just kind of assume that, you know,
Just FYI, the bot got out.
okay, it was in a put.
Yeah, I got into a put. It used a new strat. There's a strategy that I added the other day, last week, I think, when something happened. It was doing counts beforehand, but it didn't do counts at the opening. It was using that strategy, but it just reached level and got out. Just letting you know.
And we're seeing the tick rally all the way to 0 here.
good day, bud.
Oh no, Stacy changed the box.
I didn't change it that much. The plays that it does normally, it still plays, and it plays them exactly like it did before. It's not that big of a change, TJ, I promise.
So we're gonna have to see. So we're still getting that bounce off 7, right? So there's shorts that are kind of unwilling get short at these lower prices is basically what we're saying, and people are starting to cover some of their positions. So the next key target on the upside is almost where that B high was at. That's that Globex low, right? And the market's going to need to rally above that and fill in a little bit of this volume and try to get above volume here if it wants to get up. Remember, we're still on a very large gap lower, right? All the way to here. So if we were to mark this gap, right here and then all the way to here, right? So there's still a fairly large gap lower here. What does that tell us? Gonna take a long to exit quickly, right?
There's some stops.
A little bit of short covering right there. Now we're back into the weak volume, back into that Globex low. The tick is actually showing a little bit of buying right here above 0. Let's see if it can hold it. On the 15-minute tick, yeah. I like the 15. Also something I wanted to share with you guys. If you guys didn't get a chance, or I don't know if you guys do, follow the Tasty Trade. Like I've said, I really like this the Jones and Friends show, which is on every day right after the market closes. Um,
Didn't work.
and I haven't made it all the way through, but this video yesterday they had Jim Carson on here, and he's really fucking smart. Um, I would, I like to listen to this every day after the market, right? This is Victor Jones. You got Chris Vecchio. They have other people on the show that I think are really intelligent. Um, but this episode specifically, so far, listening to Jim is very insightful about how market makers are managing their positions. And so, I would recommend recommend checking it out and, you know, at least kind of seeing what it's all about. What is this interface? This one right here, Mike J. See, this is Sierra charts. Nasty candle. They had to get a few people off sides. Oh yeah, on that upside on the B. TJ, is that what you're talking about? I saw that. My bad. That's delta on the top right, I'm guessing? No, no, it's not. This is a weighted AD, right? So the S&P 500 is made up of 11 sectors, and this is measuring them, but weighted, right? So this is the actual advanced decline line of the S&P, the 80 SPD, and that's this line here, this red and green line that you see, right? So right now 418 stocks in the S&P out of 500 are going down, right? Letting you know, like, if you're buying this, you're just fucking, you know, pissing in one hand and it's raining on the other hand, and you're just hoping one of them's going to fill up, right? So fantasy land that you're living in. But this is measuring it weighted, right? And this white line is unweighted. So right now we have the unweighted sectors heading down a little bit faster than the weighted sectors, which are weighted here, right? And so this is letting us know, and this is the zero line, right? That the weighted sectors and the unweighted sectors are both in conjunction moving lower, right? And if we grab our actual sectors chart, which is on a different screen here, we can see, so here's technology, the heaviest weighted sector, right? Making lower lows below its VWAP. Same idea here on healthcare, same thing here on consumer discretionary, same thing here on financials. And you can see here on communications, especially if we, zoom this in a little bit here, is starting to try to turn up, but still below its VWAP, still below its open. Same thing kind of looking here on industrials. Staples is looking off of its low off that first period. So it's been making higher lows, but it hasn't made a higher high yet. Trying to get back to its open. Energy is still looking weak. Utilities is actually, right at its open, trying to crack above. Materials looks like shit. And real estate is actually above its open, which is why we see, real estate and actually healthcare. Healthcare is cracking above its open right now as well. And that's why we see in these boxes here, and there it goes again, real estate's the only green sector, right? And you can see the breadth here, negative 24 to 1, negative 4 to 1 on the NASDAQ. So pretty ugly. Pretty ugly. And this platform here is Thinkorswim. Oh, his fucking phone's off. XLRERR is the real estate one. What do we got? 5 minutes until the next period opens up. Let's see if they're going to keep extending this range. So a lot of volume came down here, where we initially saw that short covering 3707. Market rallied a little bit, stopped out some weak-handed shorts, and then cut off. Any buying got cut off right there. And then, we were kind of just back inside this range. And we've been, pretty much for the past like 15 minutes from like 12 to 5 or 10 to 5-ish area. So, I mean, you basically in between these high volumes. And then anytime it gets below, nobody wants to sell. And then anytime it gets above, nobody wants to buy. So, watching this 5 and this 12 here as an area to see if we can get some continuation. And I'll be right back. Mike J, yeah, no problem, man. Anytime. And any questions you have, let me know. And if you're not in the Discord that we have, just post let me know that you're not in the Discord, and I'll send you the invite in the chat, and you can hop in there and share some of your ideas, and we'll share some of our ideas and get there together. All right, I'll be right back, guys. I'm back. What do we go up to? We got above that 12 and hopped up to the 16 there, it looks like. Still not able to take that B high. The tick is actually got a close above 0. Nothing is really, nothing, I mean, that's only the only +1 that we're seeing. Prices above the VPOC. We're pretty far away from the open. We've still got a very big gap above. Am I seeing support on 36.75? Waiting for that to hit to long Bitcoin. What do you 36.75? I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, you're waiting for 36.75 to hit on the S&P to get long on Bitcoin. Oh, okay, I see. Doing a little correlation. Yeah, what's interesting about Bitcoin is um, it's in a range, right? So the market's basically been kind of trending lower for the past couple of days, but Bitcoin's been balancing for the most part, right? We've got overlapping value, inside value, overlapping to higher, overlapping to lower. And today we're getting a little bit of overlapping to higher, even though we're kind of having this push down here. So, you know, you've got excess, and they pretty much came right off the same spot. And these are, I mean, I haven't updated these lines in a while, so Bitcoin just trades so, you know, matter of factly that it's pretty, you know, pretty much dead set. Like, you know, it just trades like a lot of computer, like it's very exact. I feel like Bitcoin trades like, and if there was easier ways to trade Bitcoin, like if you trade the Bitcoin futures, right, it's actually pretty nice. But like Bybit and fucking Binance and shit, there's just so many ways that they just kind of scam you out of everything. It's just kind of shitty. And you could look at the past videos. These lines are not new lines, but I mean, you're seeing them hit like to the button, and they're just previous highs or lows. That's all they are. They're nothing special. Like, it's not like I have fucking Rain Man algo and draw these lines. I'm just marking previous lows and highs. But with Bitcoin kind of gathering here, the key will just be to wait to see if it breaks out or breaks down, right? You see where the buyer's at, and see where selling is at, right? Every time it gets up here. And so just wait for it to form above, right? Like if it gets back up to 20,000, probably wait for a pullback to 19.6 and get long, or if it breaks down out of here, wait for a pullback up to 18,000 and get short. You know what I mean? The thing with Bitcoin is you've got to stay in a small position and make sure that you don't over leverage that position, because if you over leverage the position, you're just going to get fucked, right? Because it's so volatile and it moves around so much. But there is the micro Bitcoin futures, right? So if we pull up this bad boy here, this is the Bitcoin futures, but I think there's micro Bitcoin. Maybe not on Thinkorswim. There's but there is micro Bitcoin futures on like, you know, regular futures trading platforms, and you know, trade those. The thing is that I wouldn't recommend them trading on a funded account, because a lot of times you're going to want to hold them. So just make sure you have the margin in your account to hold those positions and trade them like that. But I mean, there's opportunity to other ways to trade Bitcoin without having to deal with that you know, that fucking bullshit of Binance, Bybit, and Vex, and all that crap. So we're back down below that 7 level again. And we what do we say? We said 12 and 5 here. So we're looking at that 5 level to see if we're going to get any continuation below. Yeah, Cam, I agree. Yeah, if it can get above that balance zone and start to form some value, that 20K has just acted like such a magnet. It almost makes sense that even if it is going to keep selling off, that it just goes up there and gives it a little taparooski one more time. Have you guys ever heard of Brains magazine? They sent me an email, um, basically asking for like a guest writers where they feature like entrepreneurs, um, to write, like a column or something like that. But I just don't have any like formal education like a lot of these people do. So I don't know.
I think that's bullshit.
Yeah, that's what
Doesn't
I.
matter. Doesn't matter if you have it doesn't matter if you have education. Unless they're asking you to pay to do the article,
I
whether
wouldn't.
you have an education is irrelevant. Because I don't have an education and that doesn't mean anything in my career.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
because you didn't pay for an education doesn't mean you're not educated.
Yeah, well, I definitely agree with that. I just don't know if that's what if they need like, if they need like an article all dressed up nice to get printed because I don't want to waste my time writing something and then be
Find out.
like,
Just
"Oh."
ask them.
Yeah,
If they do, then F them.
I sent him an email back because I looked it up and said like, I looked it up on Google first, like, is this legit or is it a scam? And Google said it was legit. I guess they interviewed the co-creator of Google. It'd be interesting to see. The digital magazine, so it's not like an actual magazine.
Getting published is getting published.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Just admit it, you're a badass.
One day. No, double R, I didn't. I helped him set up the data for his Sierra charts, but I didn't do like a tutorial. I was gonna record a tutorial this weekend though. It was just gonna be um, too complicated. Jared is like what you consider a computer illiterate person. Um, so someone who's on a computer so often just doesn't know how to use it is terrible. But so there's just too many questions. Yeah, they must. That's what I was thinking, Zoe. They must have because it's a very random email, and I immediately like when I got the email, I thought like, oh, it's probably a scam. Like this is not a real, just like one of those scams. But then when I Googled it, it said that it's legit. So I emailed them back, and then I'll just see what they say. So struggling there for the market to get below that 5. Yeah, that short near the 15, that would have been a nice short as it exited that Globex range. MES only since the open. And that's another thing I was talking to my dad about is like, um, I don't understand why people shy away from trading the MES so much. You know what I mean? Like
It's not
I
as sexy.
yeah, I mean I just don't get it. You know what I mean? Like if you can trade the MES, right? You have, you know, like I said, you trade one, it's a tenth of the size, right? So let's say you want to short the 875. And I mean the way the way you would trade the uh MES would be a little bit different than how you trade the ES, right? As you're building up, you don't have to be as precise trading the MES, and you can still, you know, make similar money. Um, you're just gonna you have the opportunity if you do get in a bad position to kind of work your way out of it a little bit easier than if you get in um a bad ES position, and it's a little bit less costing, right? So you get in a short at the 9, right? You get in two MES shorts, and they start to go against you. You short two more at the 12, so now your average is 10. So now you got four MES lots on. So every point is worth $20 here instead of 100. Right? Well, that's still, I mean, that's still pretty good, right? 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, right? 4 points, you get $100. Right? Yeah, it's nice. Nice, you get 2 points, you get $100. You know, that's great. Well, actually, it would be, let's say we had five on. Right? Five would be the 20. Um, you know, it's great, but also it's the reverse too. So if you have an account that really like, you know, $100 loss or a $200 loss is gonna be detrimental to the account, well then use the tools that are opportune for you, and that's the MES. And I think sometimes, especially when you're first starting out, the you can use the MES to make $100 a day or $200 a day, and it's going to be a lot less stressful than it would be on the ES. Yeah, it'd be nice, you know, you get an ES at long at 7 and out at 9, boom, there's 100. And then you get another long at 11, you get out at 13, there's 200, right? Easy peasy, right? It sounds easy, sounds great. Um, but you know that it's just not, you know, it's just impractical to think like I need to trade the ES, right? Nobody for the most part gets drafted to the major leagues, right? Everyone goes to college first. Everyone plays in AAA, double A, single A. I don't know how baseball works, but you guys know what I mean, right? You don't just start on the Arsenal team unless you're like a fucking prodigy, right? You work your way up through the other leagues. Do I ever show my trades live? No, I don't. I call out some trades or like talk about what I'm doing. Um, but no, I don't think that that's helpful, right? I'm a believer in teach a man to fish, not fish for him or her. But if you want to learn how to understand the market, then you've come to the right place, my friend. We are starting to see the breath cool off here a little bit, right? We've been at -20 for most of the day, getting -18, right? Still pretty negative. The weighted AD is down still, but has been making some higher lows, right? We'll disregard the first 15 minutes of the tick, but the rest of the tick has been making higher lows. Still not too confident, right? We've had one close above the zero line, but not a ton of confidence here. But Apple's put in some excess. We had this kind of, you know, double bottom look on Apple, and that's kind of telling us that maybe some supply is running out. Um, and so really, you know what, we're still kind of watching this 12 to 15 or 5 to 12 chop box here. And we need to see volume come in below or volume come in above to get any continuation, and then we want to see agreeance um, in the rest of our opportunities. Yeah, exactly. Big players are trading the MES just like they're trading the ES. Right.
I think one of the good things about the MES is the fact that you don't make a lot of money unless you trade size. But say you're only trading on one or two lot, one's tough. But because right there, if you could accept that fact, which is hard to do, right there takes the money factor out of your trades. Now you're trading to make good trades because what are you gonna make? $10, $20 a day on a good day? You make some good trades, you make $20, $25. So the money factor is not really there as much. Now you're concentrating just on doing good trades. For me anyway, that's how I wish them. If the MES was ever around when I started, oh man, what a difference it would have been. I was trading minis starting out. It was brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal. You lose money. You're trying to trade one lots. That's brutal. Then you're stepping up. Then you're getting killed. You know what I mean? When you're starting.
Yeah, and it really is like it's such a opportunity that people just they don't want to use it because it doesn't like Pop was saying, it's not as sexy, right? It's like, oh, I don't trade the fucking micros. I only want to trade the minis because that's where the money's at, and I'm only here to make money. And just like you're saying, Roach, like I agree 100%. Once you take that monetary factor out of your trading and you can just focus on making good trades, you'll see your success rate go up, and then the money will come. You know what I mean? That's what follows. Uh, that's what follows the good trades or consistent trades is monetary gain. Right? You can't start off with the goal in mind or the goal ahead of, it's like leading, what do they say, like the putting the donkey in front of the whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. I don't know that saying, but
Yep.
like
Put the donkey in front of the cart.
put the donkey in front of the cart, right? Like, you know what? It's nice to be like, oh yeah,
The cart for the donkey.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
put
make a
the-
living doing this. But like, when you first start out your job as a as someone who works concrete, you use Roach for an example, right? It's tough fucking work. And when you first start at it, you're doing it the hard way, right? You're doing it the fucking worst way possible, and it's not easy. And especially concrete, you fuck one little thing up, and then it's just all you're just one, you're pissed off because you basically have to start all over, and two, now it's taking more of your time, so now you're double pissed. And like it's for some reason people can't wrap their heads around that with the market because of all the false information that's shot out there. It's just put on that oh, you jump on here, I'll show you how to make $150 a day in 15 minutes, right? Yeah, but I could show you how to lose $150 a day in 15 minutes as well, and they don't say that.
They can show, well, the problem is they can show you how to do it, but they can't fix your habits. That's the problem.
And even then, like, most of them are just fucking, they're just full of shit, right?
Snake oil.
Anyone
Snake oil.
anyone who's trading for real, like, knows, like, it's just not that easy. And it doesn't get, sometimes it does feel easy, right? It does. But sometimes it feels not easy, and sometimes you're like, fuck, what am I doing? And I'm, like I've said, I'm first to admit it. In August, especially the latter part of August, I just struggled. And I don't know, I mean, I've reflected and kind of doing well since September started, but August was a struggling month for me.
Look at this 05. Almost 4,000.
Yeah, I see that.
$4,500.
So they're just trying to sell into there. Yeah, this thing's gonna blow. There it goes.
So
I can show you. So if it doesn't take the low here and gets back above the 5, this thing might bounce, but it does look like it wants to just go.
telling me to buy it? Tell me
No.
to get long?
No, 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 never, never, never. Not today,
I'll
at
buy
least.
it. I'll buy in a second.
What size do you need to count to trade the ES? I would recommend for every one lot that you're going to trade on the ES that you need at least $5,000 in your account. And you know, like we've talked about, it's tough to trade one lot, so you know, I would recommend, you know, having the opportunity at least to trade 2 lots, and that's going to require an account of at least 10 grand. In my opinion, especially with volatility the way that it is, right? Maybe over summer when volatility is a little bit lower, you could probably sneak away with like 3 grand per contract, but you got to remember each contract is $500 a margin, and you know that's if they're giving you $500 a margin. I would stick with the 5,000. Yeah, exactly. All stars, exactly. It's a job just like anything else, and you work for yourself. But what's so crazy is people are willing to accept half-ass work from themselves. But let's say if you're the boss at work and someone half-asses their work, you're gonna be up there, you know, you're gonna be on their shit. Like, hey, what the fuck's wrong with you? Look at that concrete. That shit's not flat. Like, look at these grooves. Look at this shit. It's all rough. Like, you're gonna be up on their shit. But if you're willing to do it yourself and you're willing to pour some, you know, unsmooth concrete and you're like, at least it's done. You know, think about that kind of shit. If you worked for yourself and you're able to step back and look at yourself as an employee, yeah, so it sneaks above that 5, and now you're starting to see some shorts cover here, and the bid's stacking here. See if they're able to hold it. You know, so you don't want to accept that from yourself, then, or if you wouldn't accept it from somebody else that's working for you, don't accept it from yourself. The TPO count. Yeah, so like are you talking about the rotation factor, or you're talking about like above and below, right? So TPOs above and TPOs below. That's a part of the book you're at. Break the 35. Yeah, consistency is the sexiest thing in this game. It really is. Yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, I have it on here. It's not really something I key in on all the time. I don't think it's as effective anymore as maybe it used to be because of how much volume is in now. But like TPO's above, so there's this thing saying that we've got 41 above and 76 below, and it's marking the point of control here. And so you can see like really, if you think about it, if this is the point of control, and typically the point of control is supposed to be the one closest to the volume, so I would just here, and I would say that this thing's not measuring accurately. So this is above and this is below. And you actually would cut it off right at that C low. So there'd be one tick on the bottom. And it's just showing that sellers are more aggressive. Look, all the volume above, volume below. But it really is just to kind of show you what they're trying to do, and is it successful? Not necessarily like, I don't know. I don't put much weight on it, to be honest with you. It's something to consider, and when you read it in the book, you're like, oh shit, sounds like a fucking, you know, you're like, oh dude, this thing sounds like fucking like a secret. Right? Yeah, especially how Jim has just such a way with words, you know, and his book, like everything you read, you're just like, fuck, magic. Like, oh shit, I don't know why everyone's not reading this book. Shit's fucking, it's got some secrets in it. I know exactly how you feel. The first time I read his book, I thought the exact same thing. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Why are the people not paying attention to this? And then as you finish reading his book, you know, he says like about 1,000 times there is no shortcuts. And you're like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, like when I used to work construction, we would when I first started, we'd dig footings for we were building like mostly like decks and patio covers, like outside structures. And so I'd be digging these footings, and most of the time you'd be digging through like a 12 by 12 hole. Like concrete would come, they'd pour the patio and stuff, and then we'd have to, we'd use a diamond blade to cut a no, don't delete it. It's definitely something to look at. But it's just not like, it's just not like the miracle that it portrays itself as in the book, I think. You use a diamond blade to cut a little 12 by 12 square in the concrete, and you got to dig a 36 by 36 foot hole below it in concrete or California code. And nothing's worse than getting a call from your boss saying like, hey, you guys got to come back out to the site and fix these footings. The inspector came and they're not good. Right? Especially, in the Bay Area, these fucking job sites are all over. Some are hour and a half, 2 hours away, plus traffic. Just like, and we had a guy, and I was just a worker, right, just a laborer, and we had this kid get hired who was a friend of the boss's son, and he was just absolute fucking shit, right? He's just a lazy ass fucking kid who just wanted to get done and get home, and he wanted to get paid for it, and me too, naturally, right? I want to get done and I want to get paid for it, but I don't want to come back. And he was digging all these shitty ass footings, and I went to the boss and told him like straight up, like, hey, I know it's not my place really, but this kid Kyle fucking sucks, and I don't want to go to any job sites with him. I'd rather just dig the footings myself than have him come and help me. Um, digging a footing isn't the funnest thing in the whole world, that's for sure, but I'd rather get it done right. Um, and that's like a personality trait that if you don't have it, then you have to work on yourself to develop it. So D period's opening up here. We're starting to develop a little bit of a poor low, and we're starting to have a kind of the same kind of feel as yesterday, right? We have this kind of stem up here, and then this B shape starting to form, right? So indication of short covering here, and are we going to get that continuation? We've got this 3,700 level here. That's probably going to be magnet. There it is. You could hear the ding of sellers just smacking down into the bid. So interesting, the market's making a lower low. Apple is not. AMD is not. Amazon is not. Google is not. Meta is not. Netflix is not. Microsoft is not. Nvidia is not. Tesla is not, but Tesla does look the weakest out of the bunch. So I want to point this out, and the reason I say that, and it is not to get long, but we're starting to see more of a divergence here. Right, so here's the weighted sectors sitting around 342, and unweighted about 100 points lower. Our unweighted sectors are starting to sell a bit more than our weighted sectors here, right? And so remember that big sell was, what was it, on the 5? Yeah, it was on the 5. And if this thing gets back up above that 5, some of these weak shorts that are popping in here down at the 3 might start to cover. right? So if you're short still, I'm saying to get short right here or long, but this is a spot where you should be taking some profit or managing some risk at least, because if you get above that 5, you might see a bit of short covering come in. And if we look at yesterday's profile, we can see a very, very similar look here. Here's D period, right? D period gave us that excess, and then the market, rallied. Still was a sell all rallies type of day, and was a B shape. But it put in a little bit of excess, and then was able to trap a little bit of money too short. Not that it's going to happen again in D period. They run the same fucking play, but it's something that you always got to be thinking about. And remember, as soon as you get into a trade, if you're a buyer, immediately you become a seller, right? So as soon as you get into a short trade, right? So let's say you shorted that overnight low. You're like, okay, where would a buyer buy if a buyer was going to buy, right? And you're a buyer now, right? So immediately you're not in the market as a seller anymore. You think you are, right? Because you're short, and you're like, let's get short. But you're a buyer now, right? Because you're looking to get out and you're looking to get paid. And so is everybody else, right? Smart money that's short is thinking, where am I going to get paid at? And so if you start seeing a bunch of buying come in, right? We haven't really seen it yet. A little bit of short covering here. I don't really see any real short covering yet. Mostly just kind of maybe a little bit of short covering on that, but a lot of volume is just kind of moving down still. But where would you assume that they're going to get nervous about this short, right? Well, probably at that big spot where that short entered the market, especially if this was a big person getting short, right? Where they, after it gets above this level, well, they're probably going to start to cover a little bit, because they probably covered some down here. So imagine if you sell 10,000 contracts at the 05, and you covered 5,000 down here, well, your average is, probably up here somewhere, right? And so what are you going to do? You're not going to let it get back to your break even. You'll start covering some. And that causes sometimes these little pops. Okay, the dollar's on a Paparuski again too. Yeah. A lot of people are getting squeezed in the dollar. A lot of people are short the dollar. $365 is a big level on the SPY. It looks. VIX is up here, up above 29. Right? That could count as a -1 as well, right? We're back above that open. There it goes. So the 5 comes in, start to see shorts cover. And if you notice here, we pull up the ES. So this line here is the VWAP. All right, let's make this a little bit bigger so we can kind of see the difference from yesterday. So notice yesterday, right, as the market sold, right, the VWAP started to flatten, right? Didn't keep coming down with it. And it's kind of happening again today. We're starting to see the VWAP kind of flatten out here. And if that's just letting us know that not as much volume or not as much selling is willing to move down and sell at these lower prices, right? And naturally, we're not going to sell the 3,700 because we know that retail crowd's going to buy it. So why would we sell here when we know that there's going to be opportunity to just buy it from there because it's going to be available? Right? And you can see sometimes when price moves down, look how close the VWAP stays to it. Right? Like price moves up and the VWAP doesn't, it goes up, but it doesn't really go up with it too much. Then it comes back down. Same thing here, right? Price went down, VWAP started to flatten out, didn't really follow it. And that's kind of happening again today. VWAP still, still moving lower though. Not, and I'm definitely not saying to get long, right? This is just a short covering rally here. That's just, another way to use the VWAP. Oil's getting just down 5, almost 6%. Look at that. Look at the weighted or the unweighted here, right? Weighted starts to tick up, and look at that unweighted. It's trying to catch back up. So that D low, once again, looking like these sellers might have gotten a little bit ahead of themselves. First ES trade, 2 points short. Nice. Left a bunch on the table. Yeah, it'll always feel like that. Let's take a peek at the volume here too. Volume's about 32% more than yesterday. A pretty decent increase on volume today.
Sitting here telling myself, don't focus on the P now. Don't focus on the P.
It's tough sometimes, it's like, I mean, you're doing it because that's the end goal, and it's so hard to not focus on the end goal. Yeah, value area high at 1650. Yeah, I think mine's about the same.
Trying to see if we can get a pop to this 15 right here. Gotta get over this 12. Look out back in here.
Yeah, Pal's on at 2 p.m. Eastern. Yep. Yeah, I wonder if he's gonna say anything worthwhile. How do you decide to get in a trade? Seems like rocket science. Um, I mean, it's just, it's just a matter of, trading what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, um, I'm actually in a short right now, but you
You
just,
shorted against that 12, didn't you?
yeah, I sure did.
You jerk.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I was longs in the 3.
Oh, nice, nice. Um, yeah, it's a tough, it's tough. It is a tough question, Mike. But I mean, mainly, so like today, for the most part, I typically won't trade against the trend. Sometimes I'll take some fade trades, when there's opportunity, but for the most part, I don't trade against the trend, right? And so today my bias obviously is down, right? We're one time framing lower. Um, and if you're new to the profile, one time framing just means lower highs and lower lows, right? So and it calculates it up here. Our rotation factor is -6. So we've made a lower low every time. We've made a lower high every time. So we're one time framing lower. And typically I'm not the person to trade against a market that's one time framing lower. It's just not something that I really tend to do. And so once I have that kind of in mind, so now my bias is short, right? Especially when we're getting a one time framing market. If the market was rotational, well then I wouldn't be short or long bias, right? If the market was one time framing up, then I would kind of be thinking, okay, long bias. And then I come over and look at the tick here and see like, okay, the tick's just getting rejected at 0. We've seen no buying able to get up to that 600 level, which is a level that I watch on the tick. Not like there's no there's no I don't know. I don't know if it's like I can't even remember where I got the 600 from, to be honest. I don't know if I back tested it and written. I've just had these on ever since I've been watching the tick. Might have got it from Peter Reznachek. I'm not sure if he watches it. I know he watches the 1,000 for sure, but I'm not sure if it's the 600. The 600 level just seems like a level like if there's some strength or some weakness in the move, then it'll go beyond those levels, right? And then I kind of take a look at like the overall market performance. I have a little watch list here. And for the most part, everything on my little watch list is red, right? The TNX is up, the VIX is up. Those are inverse indicators. The VIX is up 6%. The dollar's up, right? That's an inverse indicator. The trend is something I look at. You definitely can't trade off of it. It's one of those things that kind of seems like magic. Like if it's above 1, don't get long. If it's below 1, don't get short. But it's just, unfortunately never that simple. All the futures are red. All of our big name stocks are red. And so that kind of confirms my downside bias, right? All of our sectors are red. The breadth is red. The weighted AD is red. And so now I'm thinking like, okay, well, where's a good spot to get short? Well, I have this 12 to 5 box, kind of mapped out for a while now, right? Since B period, basically, we've been kind of watching this 12 to 5. And so when D period came up, tapped that 12, I actually got short 10 quarter, and just wrote it down, and I closed at 650. So I mean, not like some amazing trade, just a little 4-point trade.
Nice.
But that's just kind of where I was set up. Okay, so and this is an area where if it comes up above this level and fails, right, and it fails the hold, especially if it fails to hold this overnight low, I want to get short up here. And if it breaks below this level and starts to hold below the 5, then I'll move this level down to the 5 and start trading against the 5. Right? And that's kind of how I decide to get into those trades. A lot of times what I do define as well is like, like I said, this 5 to 12 level is an area where I just won't trade. Right? Don't trade in here. This is called the chop box or the fucking no man's land. And it's really rotational in here, right? We've got all this volume, and this is the fairest price. This is where everyone's doing business at. And so, let's say, fucking JP Morgan's here and they're like, oh shit, I need to buy some futures because, fucking whatever stock they're in's going down and I need to hedge against some futures. So this thing pops up. And then fucking Bank of America's like, oh shit, I need to sell some futures because, whatever. And that's why you get so rotational inside here. And so we draw, we kind of try to draw those conclusions where we don't want to trade. And so that helps us stay a little bit more patient. Right. And then it's not as easy as just, okay, it pops up here and I want to get short, which would be great if it was. But if it pops up here and we don't start to see volume and it fails to hold, well then, we could try it, right? Give it a little go, right? Try to trade it back into the volume, right? And that trade that I took just kept on going, a point below. It traded like 6.25, 6.5. So nothing really crazy. Yeah, Dr. VJ, it's the lime green. Yeah, so like my value area high, my value area low. So high and low. So where the gray letters start, that's outside of value. And low value here. What I'll do tonight is I'll make an Excel sheet that kind of lays out all these things, like a checklist kind of, and it will just, we'll do it like a pre-filled Excel. I'm not an expert at Excel, but I do, I can manage it, and you can edit it if you want, to the things that you watch, and it'll just just type them in, one or -1, right? Or it could be 0, right? So it's like a null point. Like if the market's rotational, that's not going to give you a positive or a negative, right? You're going to have to refer to value, and some of this stuff is going to be a differential kind of feeling, and you're going to have to give it a number by yourself, right? Like right now price is above the VPOC, but we're still below the open. So you give a +1 here, but -1 here, and these are kind of canceling each other out. So that's just kind of a, it doesn't give you any information there. So you've got to refer to something else. And we'll just type it all in and it'll just spit out a number. And, you could use that number to measure the confidence of the trade, right? Or the confidence of your trade. So let's say you get like let's say it's based on a 20-point scale and you're at -18. Well, pretty confident in taking that short, or exact opposite. Let's say it's a +18 and you're looking to get long. Well, there's pretty good opportunities that the market's going to at least agree with you. Okay, Kim, for sure. Appreciate it. Yeah, normally I just hit up my uncle. He's like a fucking wizard at Excel. So now as we're getting above that 12 here, we want to look to see if they're going to get continuation. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to take that C high and, target where that previous volume was at, which is right here. Right? If they're able to scare some of these shorts and get back above this overnight low, they should be able to pop that, and then they'll be targeting that half back, and that's where all these buyers will look to be covering, and it'll be in this range. And sellers should move down here to try to backfill some of this area if they're going to sell, right? But it doesn't necessarily have to be shorts that come in to move the market down. Remember, because it trades as an auction, if you're a buyer here, immediately you're a seller. You're just old business, as Jim Dalton refers to it. So it moves up here and you start to take profit, well, this is selling, right? It might be old business, but if you're selling here and no new buyers are stepping up to buy from you, the market's going to rotate back down, right? Because the auction, it works in a two-way factor, right? So you buy your new computer monitor for 3708, it moves up, you start selling it for 3720, right? The next guy sells his for 3720, next guy sells his for 3720. Well, if nobody's saying, "Oh, well, that's not a bad price. I'll buy a monitor at 3720." Nobody does that, right? And obviously you're not doing it because you just sold your monitor at 3720. Then price has got to auction lower to find a buyer that's willing to buy a monitor at a higher price. Putting in a pretty tight range here so far. California to start sending out 10 billion in inflation relief payments on October 7th. LA Times just reported. Where are they getting that money from?
And sending out more stimulus.
I guess California is, yeah.
Okay.
Still a resident of California. Get a check.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't go say
Be nice to see how we act the VWAP up here. See if there's a seller.
21.
Yeah.
So there goes that C high, right to half back, right, and it's kind of right below that high volume, just retraces a little bit, and the impulse here is from the 11, so there's still opportunity here. 11 or 12, it looks like, to see if these buyers are going to step up and start to kind of fill in this weak volume area and get that continuation. You live in California, Andy? Yeah, it said October 7th they're gonna start passing out fucking shackles, or what do they call them? Not shackles. What do they call that? Shekels. Shekels. So if it loses 11, probably rotate, back down to the point of control. This is kind of where buyers need to step up and start to fill this in. It does look like you are getting some buying up here. Just they're just having a tough time with everything else being short. But look at the breadth though. The breadth went from -25 to -15. Oh, you live in slow? Oh, slow's nice. So there it loses the 11. Now you probably get a rotation back to the point of control. I went there for some medical training with the National Guard. That's the most recent time I was in there. I used to go there in high school to partay. Big college town. Yours is at 16. Mine is at 16 as well. But I'm talking about the VPOC, Dr. VJ. So it's the 7-ish, 7.5 is where I think this rotation down is.
Yeah, I feel like the time point of control has been all weird lately.
I mean, in reality, like, you know, you just, this is your time point of control is like this. You know,
True. It's like the same. Yeah. Yeah, I
yeah,
get what you're saying.
they're all the same. And if you just measure it, use the volume, it's here, right? And so there it is. We rotate back down there. It just, you know, just profile, a little profile 101 for us there.
And it jumped over. I have a gap on my 1 minute chart right there. Oh, I just filled it. Yeah, I was looking for that 200 up there at the 15.
The short?
No, that's where I was looking to take profit originally on my long.
Oh, okay. But you were long from like the 3 or the 2 you said, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a nice move.
would have been a nice place to short.
It
I
was.
wanted to see it come back to the VWAP though. See if we could get a little closer to VWAP. Yeah, that 1 minute candle came up to the exact same spot that the short covering in B, like that 1 minute candle in B, spiked up to that same exact spot. Thought that was interesting.
I mean, this is just showing us that, you know, there's a seller on halfback and there's nobody buying up here. And I waited on that one. Waited, you know, I shorted the 11. I just waited for it to come back down. As I mean, it popped up and it kind of retreated right away. I just was, you know, wanting to wait to see if it failed, and then sort of the 11, it popped down and it kind of held right here for a little while. You know, and then eventually came down, and I covered on the 7. So, you know, I left some profit on the table, but that was my plan. My plan was to short once we got back into there and short back down to the point of control. You shorted as well? Good stuff. MES, it doesn't matter if you short on the MES or the ES. I want you guys to like erase that from your brain, right? The MES, like, okay, yeah, you traded on the ES, that's fucking awesome. You trade on the MES, that's awesome too. It's the same. You know what I mean? Like it's the exact same, right? Maybe the couple of ticks are different on the MES compared to the ES, but the goal here is the trade itself, not the gain, right? Like I know a lot of discords are like they post that like a, you know, a P&L, and we have something similar, but we call it accountability. And that's really the key, is like to keep ourselves accountable, not necessarily be like, you know, hey, like, you know, I withdrew $40,000 from Apex last month. You know, like there's no that shit doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Because you could easily lose 40,000 this month, and then, you know, the consistency is really the only thing, and making a quality trade is the key. I'm not trying to harp on you. You know, I'm not trying to say like, you know, you didn't, that's a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, if you can start to remove that, it'll help you. You know, like, and just to use TJ as an example, and it's something that he's working on, and let me know if you want me to stop TJ, but like, he makes such good trades, right? And just doesn't let him play. You know what I mean? Like all the time. I mean, especially recently since he started sharing with me, he's made like entries are just like fucking sniper entries. They're excellent. Even that we had that really good trade the other day in the Discord, and he took the exact same trade, didn't even see that I had posted. Um, you know, just the outcome was a little bit different, but you know, that's a that's just a matter of time until he, you know, starts getting to that point. And as soon as you are able to stop focusing on the monetary gain of the trade, the that's when the money starts to flow. You know what I mean? Like you never made $100 before you made $1. And as silly as it seems, you make a point on the MES and you make $5, so it's really like $4 because you got to pay the commission. But you know, you can't make $25 without making $4. You can't make $50 without making $4 first. It's just not gonna happen. And like I always say, I think the biggest issue in trading is not that people fail, right? They say 90% of traders fail. I don't think that's what it is. I think 90% of traders run out of money before they actually learn. Yeah, the execution. Yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty bummed that day because we were all in the TPO chat and I shared my entry and my target and it was like 20 points higher. And then it came down and backticked me. And then I got my exact entry like 30 to 60 seconds later, like the thing I look for my perfect entry. And then I didn't retake that trade. And then it moves like the whole 20-point move. And I'm like, Dad, God. And it's like since I got backticked and I had that loss, I'm like, well, I don't want to get back in and lose again. And it's just like that fear of losing or those emotions. And I don't know, but I'm seeing it. I just got to start trading it better.
Exactly. And that's how it starts. Right? And it's like when you look at a chart, like you pull up a random chart, right? And you without judgment or without anything, like, you know, let's do this. Because one thing I was thinking about trading, was the euro versus the I was thinking about shorting this yesterday. It looks like it didn't work out. But you pull up this randomly, right? And we're just looking at this chart. We have no attachment to this chart. We don't trade this chart. It's the euro versus the New Zealand dollar, right? And we take a wide peek at the chart, and the chart is up, right? And we've kind of made a high. Market's starting to balance, and I kind of have a bias that this thing's coming down, because I think the euro might go on a little bit of an upside roar over the weekend. But you know, when you pull up this random chart, right, and you do your market analysis, and then you just place you don't even place a paper trade. You're like, you take a picture and you send it to your friend. You're like, this thing's coming down to fucking 166, right? And I and then you close your chart and you fucking look at it, a week later, and here it is. It's at 166, and you're like, fuck, I should have traded that. And that's really how it starts. Like, it starts with seeing it. If I had traded all the trades that I send to James, because I pretty much send all my ideas to James, I just screenshot everything and fucking send it to him. If I were to trade all these trades, and he always responds, should have traded it, stop being a bitch, why don't you fucking trade it, right? And I'll be fucking zillionaire, maybe, who knows. That's exaggeration, obviously, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, and think about that for yourself, right? Every time you see a chart and you're like, oh, this is what I think is going to happen, and then it does happen, right? So you are seeing the matrix. It's just a matter of actually executing and then sticking with it. But that's the first step. The first step is being able to see it. And I really do think, especially you, TJ, because you've been sharing a lot of your trades with me, you're fucking dead on. And it's just like, a matter of time until the breakthrough. tick getting sold off pretty hard here. We're below that 1,000, but we're not making a new low. So watch here. If this doesn't make a new low, you may see a little bit of a bounce here. If these are getting a little bit trapped here. Yeah, Cam, I think that's true. I think probably everybody could say that. Like, you know, they wish they had the capital when they first started trading, right? They wish they stayed on the sim. They you know. Big change from Canada. Oh yeah. All that freedom of speech, even in California. Like crazy. Even though, I mean, you're still, you feel like one evil to another. Fucking, what was that dumbass's name? Trudeau in Canada. And now you got Gavin Newsom. Another dumbass. So tick's still low. Watch to see if it can break the low. If it can't break the low, there's going to be a low risk opportunity here to get long, at least back into the point of control. It's going to require some high execution here, but be patient. See if it can take the low. 531 contracts on that low here too. You reset your 800K to 10K. You shorted the 15. 3,700. So what we're looking for is we're looking for a pop down and then immediate pop up and then no retracement. Long block, right? So if it keeps going lower, you're out. But if you don't get that pop down and that pop up, there's no trade. Just grinding here. Volume's coming down. Watch above, there's a pop. Don't want it to get back below the 1 here. This is where you just move it to break even. Boom. Stops at break even. You got in the trade, a risk-free trade. If it keeps going up, we're good. If it doesn't keep going up, then we risk 0. And we're looking for the 7. 5 might give a little bit of tiff, but we'll look for the 7 here. Now your stop is moved up, right? Give yourself a point of profit here. Depending upon where you got filled. I got filled at 0150. And now I'm out. Stop at 250. So a little 1-point fade there. You know, didn't get that continuation that we wanted, but you know, we got that opportunity to manage risk there at the low. So the most our stop right there was 1.5. It popped up just like we were waiting for. We were able to alleviate any loss right away by moving our stop to break even. It kept moving up. We just trailed it up, gave ourselves a point because it's a fade. Everything is saying down, so we're not going to sit here and just pray for the 7 to come. And now we're flat, right? Got a point of a trade there, right? $5 or $50, right? No matter, but a decent little trade regardless. And that's the opportunity here. And we're starting to see these shorts cover on this 01 here. And that's, you know, that's how we notice it right there, is that it comes down and then it popped up. We saw it pop up. That's shorts covering. Seeing some volume come down on the 2 here now though. So maybe some sellers are trying to move down. Yeah, looks like the low wants to go now. And that's the thing about these fades, like, you know, these fades are, when you fade the market like that, you're basically, like I said, you're at like a negative 20 and you're looking to buy. Well, you've got to be in and out of the market that fast. I don't know if we're going to get liquidation today. There's not a lot of agreements across the board for a liquidation. Tech's down pretty good. I mean, actually, the volt is, I mean, this thing's pretty negative. It's down under. You're starting to see the weighted AD break its low of the day. You're almost having, I mean, 435 out of 500. $1,400 contract. Someone's just selling the low here. That's the 00. There it goes. What was the next level down? $36.93. Next level down. I don't remember who it was that said they watched the 800 moving average. But that's pretty much, the market just broke below that. Because I added it to my chart and I guess I never took it off. But here it is. 93.25 is the next level down here. And then below that, there's a little bit of an equilibrium here down like the 36.80 to 36.72. $36.75, Dr. VJ. Grand Q channel is lower, -0. Yeah, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Like when we took this little fade trade, that's all it was just a fade. And if it didn't give us that pop, then we wouldn't have taken it. But it was shorts covering before the low. We took it, got a little bit of an opportunity, and, you know, covered it for a small profit. Friday payday. A lot of craziness going on here. Look at the time in sales here. These are aggressive sellers selling below the bid. This pink is selling below the bid. So aggressive selling. Yeah, that's the old CME number, yeah. Yeah, if we're looking at the new, like only the Z contract, we're looking at the Z contract, it'd be 3678. No, 3678.75. Yeah, 3678.75 would be the Z contract. Yes, Apple's still not puking yet. I mean, Apple's down 1.5%. Amazon hasn't given up yet. Google is starting to give up. Meta's coming down here. Microsoft is still trying to give up as well. Netflix is starting to give up. Nvidia. A lot of short covering on this low here. Friday payday. Finally a little bit of excitement over E period here. Compared to recently we haven't got shit. What do we got? 10 minutes until F period opens up. And look at the sectors here. After this kind of puke, we have tech, you know, way down. Tried to come up, but still never made it above its open. Healthcare peaked above its open, really starting to puke now. Consumer discretionary is actually hanging out okay. Financials really starting to sell off. Communications, this thing's all the way scrolled. Hit a low, you know, kind of peaked above its VWAP and then puked. Same thing with industrials. Staples were trying to hold a little balance below, but they kind of broken the low. Energy still holding on, hasn't broken its low. Utilities still trying to hold on. Materials made a new low, and real estate still trying to hold on, but not able to hold above its open. So, you know, just weakness all over the market here. Nvidia is catching, or Apple's catching a little bit of a bid here, popping up. All right, Zoe. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. All right, Dr. VJ, you get some sleep. See you next week. Is Monday a holiday or is it next Monday? Watch the weak spot in the profile here now. So we know that, you know, probably a lot of people bought the same spot that we bought. Just they held it. They got liquidated here. People that held. Those are going to be the, kind of your two, or kind of your resistance zone on this way up. So from like 97 to the 00. Oh, you were saying see Monday to Zoe. Oh, okay. Lunch break. Lunch break long. Yeah, everyone closing out their shorts, getting ready to go to lunch. 28% more volume still than yesterday. Go right up to this weak spot. Watch this 199 here. That's that D low. Notice the divergence. I mean, there is a little bit of a divergence starting to with the unweighted sectors really trading lower. We just saw a pretty strong push. Not below that 1,000. So, you know, I would say you're not gonna. There's no reason to try to fight this, right? Yep, they front ran that OO. Yep, exactly. Volume moved down to sell it. And you got to think like so. D period came down, right? And they bought it. Got a little bit of a bounce. E period opened up, checked that high, didn't get to go anywhere. And then E period came down, it bounced again, and then they got stopped out. And so what do? Short time frame traders, well, they bought it and it worked before. This time it didn't work, so what are they going to do? They're going to sell it. So this time they sold it. Now you just get to see if we have any continuation here. If we have continuation, we should trade, you know, below the low, especially with the tick being so low. Weighted AD jumped up back to 25. But if it gets above that 00, they're going to get stopped out again. Yeah, after buying it, they turn into a seller. Yeah, and who knows? Powell may be facing some pressure from Biden too. Um, like, hey, buddy, I need to get reelected, so I need some stimmies and that fucking printer back on. Buddy, old pal, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and call it here pretty soon. About 3 minutes. I gotta. Today's yard work Friday.
I don't really have any references below here. Do you have any like weak spots? Or I mean, I know we have like the year low or something like that, not too far below us.
The only thing that I'm looking at is the daily really as like as these spots here, and I'm kind of just looking at area here. Yeah, so like let's see, 36.97 to 36.85. Really, I mean, kind of like where the market's at right now. That's pretty much it. And then I think the next target down is gonna be this kind of double bottom week low look.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't really have any levels either. If we just look at the aggregated chart, there's a there's like this kind of bracket down here. And that's kind of, it seems like, kind of lining for the most part, like kind of right up with it. So if it does break into there, it kind of seems like that target might be like that 3,300. 93 short-term support for now. Yeah, I mean, a lot of those contracts trade on the low, all trade on the bid, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ticks. The bottom 5 ticks were all bid trades. There's a buyer down there for sure. Correct. But that, I mean, that's kind of where I see, and that was kind of that pre-pandemic level. I wanted to get real scientific about this. Get real give us one bad boys here. And that would put us inside like this 50 to 61.8% retracement level. Uh-oh. Golden box.
We got a few bids below us too.
Oh yeah, I see that 85, 80, 82.50. And this is actually kind of nice. F period opening up, kind of right in the middle of E period. And well, I guess not right in the middle, lower half, but if we don't get a close of those singles, that's easy. Fade that fucker, right? If it closes the singles, the and this thing fills in with volume, that'll show that these buyers are stepping up here, and that's what this is, buying volume and not selling volume, and that'll probably take us back to that 3707. Bank of England 50% chance of a 1.25 in November. They just did a, no, it wasn't, it was Sweden that did the 1 point, right? Yeah. I mean, England is just fucked. England's been fucked since World War II. The United States fucked them. Just backdoor style. But I mean, really, that's what they have to do. That's what everyone just needs to do that. And as shitty as it is, but like, because the world has become so obsessed with consuming shit, they've got to stop giving all these people free money to consume shit. When you can borrow wads of cash for 2%, it's like free basically, but when it's 10% or 20%, like think about it. Think about it. When you buy a car, you get like a, like a 5% on the used cars, sometimes 0% or 0.99% on a new car. Well, if you went to go buy a new car and they were like 12%, you'd be like, fuck that new car. I'll walk. Right. And that's kind of that's what they need to do. And, causing a recession might be the only way to do that. And a lot of these people that live on credit they're going to get damaged pretty, especially if they have a variable rate mortgages or variable rate, um, APRs.
As soon as that one moved one of my lots up to the bottom of that box, it broke through. Jerk. Those candles kept turning around at that 94.75. I was like, maybe I should take one off here in case it don't break. As soon as I let go of that thing, it broke.
Yeah. You were in along from the ELO?
No, I had that whole blue box thing kind of predicting the singles since we broke. So when it came back up to the 97, I averaged in 3 right there with my stop behind that blue box. So I got one left right now.
So you were short.
Yeah, I was short.
Fuck yeah, so good stuff. Good stuff. Way to stick with the trend. Some countries paid you to borrow in Europe. I mean, that's basically what they're doing. They were offering, free cash, letting you get a mortgage on a house for $1 million for, 2%. That's a lot of equity. Right now, if your house is not worth that much, then, which is what I think a lot of people might be running into here. All right, guys. Well, it is about that time where we wrap it up for the weekend. I appreciate everyone coming and hanging out. Sorry for the absence a couple of days this week, right? I had some things going on, but seems like everything is back in tip-top shape. I'll be putting out a couple videos this weekend, one about a Sierra Charts demo, just kind of how to get it set up and things like that, and then also another one about what was the other video about? Like basically like a recap of the week, and kind of I'm gonna go back and combine a couple of profiles, and I want to show you guys some unique things that I saw while I was looking at last night, that by the end of the day we should have all the data aggregated, and it'll match what our thesis is. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Make sure that you are managing risk and sticking to your trade plan. Remember that PAL is on in 2 hours, so if you're trading and if he gets on, market might start going a little bit haywire. So just be careful for that, especially leading into the end of the day, end of the week. But other than that, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will catch you all later.